truly at the top of the pyramid.
Nice.
I just asked them, can we take our masks off and talk?
Yeah, yeah. Are we all ready?
You're on the air.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, well, good morning. Oh, that's really loud. Good morning, everyone. My name is SHELLY CARLSON. I am the mayor of the beautiful city of Moorhead, Minnesota, and I am also the chair of the Diversion Authority Board. The Metro Flood Diversion Authority, as you all know, is a governing organization for the entire diversion project to create a permanent, reliable flood protection solution for the Fargo-Moorhead metro area and the surrounding region. And on behalf of the board and our executive director, Joel PAULSEN, I want to welcome all of you to Fargo on this rainy morning. It's too bad we don't have sun, but we really needed the rain, but not enough that we're going to have a flood this year, so that's good. So the diversion must already be working, right? So I just want to thank our distinguished guests for joining all of us on the board, Senator Hoeven, Senator KLOBUCHAR, Governor BURGUM, Colonel JANSEN. It is incredible to have all of you here to hear the updates from all of our jurisdictions and what we've been doing for flood mitigation. Everyone that is going to be talking to you today has already played a very important role, a vital role, I would say, in bringing flood protection and jobs to our region. And like I said, we could not be here without the incredible work of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and your team, just incredible. And we are extremely grateful for our very good friends in Congress, particularly Senators Hoeven and KLOBUCHAR, who are here today, actively supporting the project and working tirelessly to champion this need for the federal funding, and for Governor BURGUM for all his great work that he's doing in the state of North Dakota. As you all know, Senator Hoeven has been here from the beginning. We're honored he's here. And as a token of our appreciation, you each have a small gift from Mayor Mahoney. And when we were here yesterday, Mayor Mahoney was very adamant about me bringing something that said 56560, which is the zip code to Moorhead, Minnesota, because I think he's jealous of my mask. So each of you also got a mask that says 56560, more to love. So when you're done eating your chippers, you can put the mask on. So thank you, Mayor Mahoney, for that wonderful, wonderful idea. I appreciate it. So I just want to briefly give an update on behalf of the city of Moorhead. We've always taken great opportunities, and we've always taken a resilient approach to flood mitigation in our city. We want to make sure that we stay safe and healthy, but yet still create places for people to live, work, and play, places where people want to be. The state of Minnesota since 2008 has spent approximately $110 million from the state of Minnesota. And we are down to, in the city of Moorhead, only approximately $30 million away to fully complete our voluntary flood buyout. So we are so close to being completed with this project in the town of Moorhead. So with that, though, I want to turn it over. I believe, Senator Hoeven, you had a few things to say, and then we will kind of hear from our constituents here.
Thanks, Mayor Carlson. Appreciate it very much. Actually, Shelley and I go all the way back to Minot, and her dad, Tom Ossen, is a great guy I've known for a long time. I won't say how many years because then I'll say how old I am. But, and it really is nice to be in a place where it rains. I tell you.
That is because I came here.
Yeah. The rainmaker. And we'll be taking, she thinks she's going back to Minnesota, but if that's the case, I'm taking her west, because, man, we need rain out there bad. So I'm feeling for our farmers and ranchers, so anyone that can do a rain dance, do it. And Amy, we are thrilled to have you here, and if you bring rain, we're going west. But thanks so much for being here, really appreciate it. And of course, appreciate your work. I mean, I think it was Barbara Mandrell used to say she was country when country wasn't cool, and you were helping on the diversion when it wasn't cool from the start. No kidding, from the start. When I went to Senator KLOBUCHAR, she was on board. I mean, obviously she knew there were issues that had to be worked out, and she represented everybody fairly in the process, all interests both in the communities and in the counties. and beyond, upstream and downstream. She understood it had to work for everybody, but she was on board helping all the way, and so thanks for being here. We sure appreciate it. And of course, Governor Burgum and his leadership has been just incredible. And actually, as always, you know, they say timing's everything, and I don't know how you have better timing than the governor, because we'd actually planned to do this to talk about the federal end of things, but he's going to have a lot to talk about from the state end too, so that's pretty cool. And I'm really glad it worked out that way. And then to the mayors, you know, Shelley, thanks for your great leadership and the spirit of cooperation between North Dakota and Minnesota. And Tim Mahoney, you know, I truly look forward to the day where we're standing out there, you know, cutting the final ribbon on the whole project. I don't know how old we're going to be, hopefully not much older, like only 6 years at the most. But I think you're going to cry. I mean, you're just not going to be able to hold the emotion in, because this has been a labor of love and intensity for you like none other. And it does really show the importance of things don't just happen, leaders make them happen. And you've lived and died with this thing. But the progress is significant, and no one's done more on it than you have, so thank you so much. Mayor DARDIS, always just great to work with you. Thanks for being here. And to Mary, the former diversion leader, to the county commissioners that are here, the city commissioners, Chad, to you and the whole county crew from Cass, and the folks from Clay across the river, thanks so much. And it is a team effort, and you're only as good as your team. And fortunately, this area has an unbelievable team, and I like to talk about it. Wherever I am, I get a little static sometimes on the floor of the Senate and other places, which Amy will contest to, that I tend to brag up our area, I brag up North Dakota a lot, but I also brag up this Fargo, Moorhead, West Fargo Metro as one of the most dynamic small metropolitan communities in the nation. And it's true in so many ways. And this project is really a bellwether or a prototype for the nation as a public-private partnership. It is truly, truly leading the way. And at almost $3 billion, that's a fairly significant prototype project. But I think this will become the model for the country. I really do. And of course, so timely as we talk about infrastructure now. And I see a guy back there who doesn't look much older than the last time I saw him, but has worked awfully hard on this as well, and that's Mayor Bruce Furnace. Mayor Bruce, yeah, I know you thought with that mask. Yep, absolutely. Thanks to you and so many, you know, Flacco, the legislators have played such a big part, and the governor's probably going to talk a little bit about the state end today, and well, he should, because it's very significant. I think it fits really well with what we're doing here today. We want to announce a major award here today. I don't know if I can let the cat out of the bag yet, or if I'm supposed to. I think as far as who's getting it, we'll do that right afterwards. But we are going to announce a major $67 million bid to move forward with the I-29 road raise, and we'll see who the contractor is afterwards, just so there's a little bit of suspense. But we're also going to talk about the next steps, and so we'll talk a little bit about the federal end, and Governor Burgum's got great stuff on the state end. I think we're really getting good momentum, and we'll talk a little bit about the private portion of it. We've got Colonel Jansen here. And we appreciate the Corps very much, and we appreciate General Spellman, the commander of the Corps. We've gotten to know him pretty well, even before he took over as the top guy, but he's been in our corner, and it's been important. And let me just give you an example of that. Today's award, this $67 million that we're awarding today, we actually got in FY20, but we couldn't go forward with the award because it's to raise about 4 miles of I-29 interstate. And so that, you know, obviously so it doesn't flood. And the Corps said, well, we can't go forward with that because we've got this really great, innovative way that we're gonna do this. We're gonna take the dirt out of the Red River Valley control structure where we have to excavate, and then we're going to use that as fill for the road raise, which is a twofer. It's a 2-for-1. Because not only are we starting to dig the hole, so we're already starting to get the construction done on the control structure, we've got this fill now, so we don't have to go find and buy fill, because we can take the fill over and we can use it to raise 4 miles of I-29. Pretty good thinking, right? That's the kind of thinking you want your engineers to do. It saves money, saves time, saves cost. That's all the things that you want. Problem is, they got to have the funding, and under the Corps rules, you have to have funding for both in order to let contracts on both. So we had the 67 million, which we got in FY20, but we had to get the additional federal funding, which is roughly 180 plus million, in order to do the controls, that portion of the control structure bid, which we didn't have. We secured $115 million in funding, which isn't the full 180 plus that we need, but we were able to go back to OMB and to the Corps of Engineers and get agreement that they could proceed with the road raise, doing it the way they want it, taking it, excavating the Red River structure, and we'll go back and get the additional roughly 75 or so that we need out of the 22 approach. So we have the 115 as well, which we've now secured out of 21 approach. So we got the 67, we got the 115, and we'll have at least another 175 or whatever we need to complete the control structure this year. So, funding this year. So the key is this keeps the project, the federal portion of the project on track. And with Amy and I sitting here, and the governor sitting right there, one thing Amy and I don't want to do is let the state get ahead of the state portion, get ahead of the federal portion. Fair enough? So, never say whoa in a horse race. And the good news is we're on track to keep the federal, not only recognize the cost savings, which is important, but keep it on schedule. And I think, Mayor, we were hoping 6 years. Is that right? Are we still thinking 6 years? Okay. So we're in good shape. We'll award a contract today. We'll announce the recipient right afterwards and be available for some questions with the media. And that's kind of in terms of the federal funding and the federal end, we're tracking forward. And at this point, let me turn to Senator KLOBUCHAR so she can talk a little bit about the Minnesota side, and then we'll go to the Gov for the state aspect. But again, Senator KLOBUCHAR, thanks so much for being here. Most importantly, though, thanks for being somebody who's been working for this project.
Well, thank you so much, John, and thank you to our new mayor over here. We got together last night, and I'm proud to have her as our mayor, and then also Governor. It means so much to work with you again. I know that you and our governor, Governor Walz, have a great a working relationship and are friends. I know he contacted you this morning about this project and his support. I talked to him yesterday. You always want to check in with your governor, right, John? And because this is obviously...
We love governors.
Okay.
Governors are the best.
This involves a lot of different governmental entities, and the governor has been supportive of this. And he enjoys working with your governor. And I also want to thank the mayor and everyone else that is here. I remember our tours, many tours we took before this was cool. And so many friends that I've worked with over the years from both sides of the river. And as I've always said, in Moorhead and Fargo, like how I put Moorhead first. Yes. I call it the Moorhead-Fargo area. But in Moorhead and Fargo and in Minnesota and North Dakota, our river doesn't divide us, it unites us. Except for hockey, that does divide us. And okay, I'm not going to bring up that game last weekend. I did stay up till 1 a.m. watching it, the Duluth. Yes. Okay, I just want to put that on the record, not because in this moment of goodwill, I thought I would just sort of get that out of the way. But in any case, this is a moment of goodwill because we all know how important this project is. I've had people say to me in the past, well, this more affects North Dakota, which is one of the reasons that North Dakota's been pushing it, but I believe it affects our whole region if something really bad happened. And we've had really bad things happen. I'll never forget being here for that last major flood and meeting a guy in the volunteer center. And I said, oh, thank you. And he said, well, I have nowhere else to go. And I said, why not? He said, well, I lost my house. And so I decided I'd just come here and volunteer because what else am I going to do? And I got to help other people. And that really stuck in my mind about how this is an area that has been through a lot, and we have gotten through it, and we're going to do it again. And one of the ways we do that is preparing for the future. And that's what this project is all about. So I'm excited to hear this announcement and about this plan to finally do something about this elevation. I'm also pleased that we've been able to work out a lot of the issues in Minnesota. As you know, back in October of 2020, the Diversion Authority signed a settlement agreement with the Richland-Wilkin Joint Powers Authority, the Buffalo Red River Watershed District, the City of Wolverton, Minnesota, City of Comstock, known as the Upstream Coalition, and they had some legitimate issues about what would happen to their land and their places that they have owned and through generations of their families. And I was really glad we were able to work that out once again, both sides, both states, and that we have an agreement on that. And that really paved the way for allowing this construction to go unimpeded. And so that was a major thing we've been working on for a long, long time on the Minnesota side. And then, of course, with the governor's support, that is very positive, and I would let our governor speak for himself. I'm sure he'll be up here sometime in the next few months, but that's going to be really important as well. And then we have our federal side, and I think you've been all seeing there's a lot of interest in infrastructure. That's a nice Minnesota way of saying it. In Washington right now, for good reason. We have needs in our communities from roads and bridges and potholes and rail to water projects and broadband and things like that. So I think that this is a good time for us to be talking about finally getting the final funding to get this project done. And I'm just honored to be here with my friends. And the only other senator that I ever went for a drink with at one point, where we went to the bar in the Minneapolis airport and I got carded. True story.
That's a
He
true
did
story.
not.
I did not get carded. She actually did. And it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, John and I have worked together on so many bills and projects and a lot of ag issues and things that are of interest to both of our states. And in this time of a lot of divide, those friendships are even more important. So thanks, John.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, thanks, Senator Klobuchar. Governor Burgum, thanks for coming over. We know you've been kind of busy of late. But it looks like the session's going well, and based on your news today, I think it's going real well.
Great. Well, thank you. Thank you, Senator Hoeven and Senator Klobuchar. It's a great to have you both here, champions for this project, but it's also, at this time in our nation, it's great to see the two of you working together. I think that's inspiring for all of us right now when there's so little of that happening. It's fantastic you're both here. So thank you for your collaboration and collegiality. I want to say again, I'm full of gratitude this morning for a lot of people in this room. When I look around the room and I think about all the people that have been working on this thing, not, decades, some of you, to try to get to where we are today. And I just say it's another exciting milestone moving forward. This has been a project that's been required perseverance. There have been a lot of hurdles, there have been a lot of challenges, but we stand here today in a really positive spot moving forward, and I think it's important to remind itself why this matters. I think uniquely in this, and I shared Senator Hoeven's view that the Fargo, Moorhead, West Fargo, Harwood, Horace metro area, Dilworth, we're not in the metro area. Arthur's outside that. We're 80 feet higher, but we're okay out there. But
What are you then?
What's that?
What are you? You're your own town?
You used to tell me that Fargo's a suburb of Arthur. What happened?
The only claim we could make about Arthur when I was a kid was we had the second longest lighted airstrip in Cass County. But that was behind Hector. It was grass, but it had lights. Okay, we're back on this. I want to say within the metro area here, but 230,000 people in the metro area, 70 square miles. But this is an important 70 square miles out of the 70,000 square miles that the state of North Dakota has. There's 55 plus K-12 buildings just on the North Dakota side that are protected by this. We've got about 3 major universities and a number of other institutions of higher education in the metro area that educate close to 35,000 students. And we know that's a big economic driver. We know hospital capacity matters more than ever. I think everybody's more aware of that now coming out of a year of the pandemic. 30% of the hospital beds in North Dakota are protected by this thing. And I think we remember during recent floods a decade ago, we were evacuating hospitals, as Dr. Mahoney knows, during one of those flood events. From a sales tax standpoint, over 20% of the sales tax in North Dakota is within this protected area. And I think, again, when we look at our economy, we look at jobs, the most number of jobs available right now in advanced manufacturing and technology, the most number of jobs, open jobs, period, are in this protected area. And so this is an economic engine that's not just an economic engine. As we know, the state of North Dakota, a lot of our tax revenue comes from commodity-based industries that are often buffeted by global forces beyond our control. But the economy that exists across healthcare, education, technology, advanced manufacturing in this protected area rolls along regardless of the price of oil or the price of wheat. And that's an unusual and unique thing. And the entire state benefits from that. This isn't just protect the people that are behind the protection of the flood, diversion. This is protects the economy, the entire state. And that's why it's so critically important, and why a lot of you have been working on this thing for so long. I think we've, when I say we're united by our topography, this is one of the flattest places on the planet, and we know what happens to flat places when they flood. We saw that in Grand Forks in 1997, prior to Katrina, that was the largest peacetime evacuation in the United States. And 20 years after that, in 2017, is about the time that Grand Forks got back to the population that it had. It had a full generational loss of population just to get back where it was. So to think about what catastrophic flooding could be here I think we've got a picture of what would look like, but we are all in it together in terms of all these communities. But we're in an exciting day today because this is really a model. And with the two senators here, with the colonel here, with all of the mayors here, and Mahoney, CARLSON, DARDIS, and all of the Cass and Clay County, all the city commissioners from Moorhead and Fargo and West Fargo, everybody here, this is a model of federal, state, and local collaboration. This is exactly what this is. And so it's why we've all been fighting for it. It's why in October of 17, Governor Dayton and I, when this thing was stalled out in a mire of legal issues, we got together and said, let's put together a citizen task force with 8 people from each state. A number of you in this room served on that and served on it admirably. And we were able to come out of that with what was creatively called Plan B, Plan B has made its way through, has been permitted, it's moving forward, and now, like Governor Dayton before him, who was an incredible partner, Governor Walz, who, as Senator Klobuchar mentioned, we exchanging comms yesterday and today, and he's indicated again his full support. I mean, he sees this the same way I do. We're neighbors and we're partners. He understands that the communities on either side of this river are one metro area, economically intertwined, and it's important that we stand shoulder to shoulder as governors in support of this. But another key partner here has been the state of North Dakota. Locally, people have stepped up big with sales tax commitments and other things, but the state of North Dakota has stepped up largely. And of course, the exciting news many of you probably heard, but yesterday, Minnesota has a bonding bill every year. It's always in the news up here about the bonding bill. I don't think that, was there ever a bonding bill when, in the 10 years you were the greatest governor in the history of North Dakota? I think we were paying cash for everything. And
We bonded Highway 2.
Okay.
Just before the Oval worked up.
Yeah, one in there. So anyway, so that was the precedent we're riding on. But we are, with the opportunity with these historically low interest rates, I want to congratulate our legislature, our leaders, Rich Wardner and Chet Pollard from the Senate and House respectively, but also some great folks that are champions of water, Senator Ron Sorvag from here from the Fargo metro area, Jim Schmidt, and the whole Water Topics Committee. They understand this is a important project. They also understand this is a point in time when we've got low interest rates, historically low interest rates, and they also understand that speed matters, both in terms of protection, but also if we can have an assured form of funding for the Diversion Authority as we head into the private-public partnership that can help lower cost and get us to that ribbon cutting sooner. And so some really bold action there. Yesterday, the Senate passed a $680 million bonding bill. That's a record for the state of North Dakota. 435.5 million of that 680 is for the Fargo-Moorhead, West Fargo diversion. And so again, I want to offer my full congratulations. I don't comment about legislation before it reaches my desk as a rule, but I'm going to make the first exception to that rule that I've made. When this bill gets to my desk, I'm signing it. And I think again, as I close out, it's we're pleased to have the Rainmaker, Senator KLOBUCHAR here, but we do need you out west. We did sign yesterday a statewide drought disaster declaration. We've got all but Cass is one of 3 counties in the state that are not in the extreme drought level. We've had more wildfire acres burned through yesterday by triple than what we had in all of 2020. We had our first wildfire this year in January. We don't even yet today have the full, the north unit of the Theodore Roosevelt National Park is still burning, working again on it with federal collaboration to do that. But within that background of that drought that we're fighting statewide, this group needs to remember that we've had 7 of the top 10 Red River crests in the last 10 years, or in the last 25 years. 7 of the top 10 in history have been in the last 25 years. And so we know flooding will be back. We need to be ready. We looked to Winnipeg when they got their diversion built in the 1960s. That community went from a size of 250,000 to now over 800,000. They have more people in Winnipeg than we have in the whole state. And that's part of what this diversion can bring, is that kind of growth and prosperity for this region. So anyway, we're excited about the contract that's going to be announced afterwards. Excited about the federal support. Talked about the horse race. With this, between the feds and the state, with this, this is our state commitment initially when we talked about this for our federal partners was $750. This actually increases our total to $850 through the whole thing, and it's fully committed now. And so that'll give you and Senator KLOBUCHAR something to take back, to know that.
Excellent.
And because I've suggested
And
before,
with these.
I've suggested before that the Fed should fund programs in order of priority based on who's got the local and state funding lined up, kind of like a reverse Dutch auction. And we have the full funding for the locals. We've got the full funding from the state. And if we want to have infrastructure dollars make a difference, they should go to places that have the strongest local and state support. That would be a smart way to spend federal dollars. So with that, I want to again say gratitude to everybody in this room. Everybody in this room has been a part of this. Look around, all of you need to share your work led to the success that came through, including yesterday in that bonding bill from the legislature. So thank you all, and great to be with you today.
Well, that's great work, and thanks to you for your strong leadership. Thanks to all the legislators. Any legislators are here, but to all our legislators for getting on board. That's important for the whole state. Obviously very important for this project. And you're right, again, that's why at the outset I referenced this is the model. The local people have stepped up with their share. The state stepped up with the state share. Federal, we have the federal commitment in place at $750, and we've funded over $300 million of it already, and of course, we'll continue to do that. So that is the model. I think you're right on, but thank you so much for being here and for your great
Thank you,
leadership.
Governor.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Well, Mayor Mahoney, I wasn't sure, but I thought you might have a couple words.
Thank you,
If
Senator.
so, we'd love to hear it. Always great to see you.
Well, welcome to Fargo. And Senator Hoeven, I want to thank you, especially when we started this journey. We asked for 50 million, you got me 5. And you said, Tim, I'll do a little better next time. 115 million this year, and you continue to climb in that number. And the challenge is on now with the governor is who can get us over the finish line. Senator KLOBUCHAR, I want to thank you because you came up here during a flood fight, and Mary Sherling put you on a line in the Spider with the convicts from the jail, and you did not blink. You did the sandbags and continued to work, and I think one of your former people you prosecuted said, hi.
Okay, well, let's remember that moment.
We'll have to get her to tell the orange jumpsuit story.
Yes. And Governor BURGUM, you very much have been a partner in this, and you put us over the line to get that task force to work together, and we finally got the upstream taken care of. And You've been our champion on this to get this and go this far as it's gone. So we're very appreciative of that. And Colonel Jansen, your team's been doing great. You're on budget, on time, maybe a little bit ahead of budget, and we're very pleased with the work the Corps has been doing. Now, Bernie Dardis is next to me, so I have to say a few things just about Fargo, obviously. But many of you have heard me talk about Fargo's successes with skyrocketing building permits, population growth, revitalization of the downtown. It's the crown jewel of the region. Amazon coming into town, and the tremendous opportunities we have along the riverfront to make that another place that we can improve upon. In fact, in the city of Fargo, we only have 5 properties left to buy to finish our in-town flood protection. So we've done great work. Nathan Burseth has done a great job. BURGUM, I'm sorry. And those are good and great things, but just a few reasons I'm so far proud of Fargo. But today I want to talk about something that brings back the past and the future. I will never forget the meeting with former Mayor Denny Wallaker and I had a discussion with the federal officials who were advocating the evacuation of Fargo during the flood of 2009. Governor at the time, Hoven was there as well, and we were talking about what to do. And we had an infamous line that is still in the lores of the history of this project was evacuation is not an option. The city chose not to evacuate and we stayed. We trusted our people's resiliency, our can-do spirit, and the courage to stay in the city and fight the rising red and never give up, which we didn't. But I look around the table today and I look at our elected partners in Washington, Bismarck, St. Paul, and the FM community. And I only can think of a new phrase this time. Failure to deliver on a real method of flood protection for this metro is not an option. It has never been an option for anybody in this room. Every one of us have worked vigorously to get this a project that would finally be funded, permitted, ready to go. I'm so dang proud of everybody in this room and the work we've done, all the board members, all the people that have been involved with this. We've arrived with a shovel-ready project, permits in hand, flood funding strategies to place and allow this to become a reality. I cannot tell you how exciting it is to begin to be able to pivot conversations to what's next with our residents, businesses, and developers. Fargo, Moorhead, West Fargo, Dilworth, Horace, we're all in this together. We can leverage each other's individual successes to build a unified success for our metro. You know there is only one thing and one thing which held us back from our maximum potential, and that was a concern for catastrophic flooding. Every time we had a business come in, we got asked that question, what are you going to do about the flooding? And through all our hard work, and it was hard, and it took a long time, this project is a reality. And this project, the Fargo-Moorhead Area Diversion, is in place in this metro community on a trajectory that none of us can imagine today. We can only look back to the days as a springboard and a catalyst to the Fargo-Moorhead's metro big boom. We are 235,000. We're going to continue to climb. The governor's goal is to get to 1 million people in the state of North Dakota, and we are going to be one of the major pivot communities that will do that. We're the #1 job market in the United States right now. On behalf of nearly 250,000 residents in this unified metro, thanks to each and every one of you for your persistence, leadership, courage, and partnership. It's truly a great time to be in the Fargo-Moorhead Metro. I couldn't be more grateful to our community residents for supporting the efforts to make this happen. And Governor, you got it right, and so did the senators as well. This is a very unique project. This is one of the most unique projects in the United States, $2.7 billion project that we're all working together on. There's not anybody in this room that has not done something that helped us to get this over the hump. So I'm very proud of what we've all done today, and this is another announcement that we're going to make. And I think our next big one will be shoveling down by the Red River someday to get that control structure in place, and I think that kind of gets pivoted. And Senator, I'll be glad to be on the top of the thing when we cut the ribbon for the final push. So very much appreciate all your work. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for your incredible leadership, Mayor. And we're going to go over to Chad Peterson, but Mayor Dardis from West Fargo, any thoughts first?
Thank you, Senator. Madam Chairman, Senator KLOBUCHAR, Senator Hoven, Governor BURGUM, welcome to our communities. We're delighted that you're here today. I am the mayor of West Fargo, an equal partner in all of this effort to build the diversion authority. I first would like to give thanks also to the North Dakota State Legislature and the Legislative Assembly for their work over the years that come to the fruition yesterday in the final bonding bill for this partnership. I'd also like to thank Senator Klobuchar and Senator Hoeven for your work on the federal level, obviously an intricate part of our success, as well as the WIFIA loan and all of those things that we do. To Colonel Jansen and your staff, over the years that I've been involved in this, every time that I meet somebody from the Corps of Engineers, it is amazing how engaged they are, how committed they are, and how helpful they are to all of the efforts that we have. So please pass that on to all of your team. They're amazing people to work with. Today is an important day for us to be here in the metro area. The progress of this project is of major importance to all of our communities and our respective states. We have been making incredible progress, especially in the months since the settlement agreement was cleared and remaining roadblocks for full construction. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Joel Paulsen's name today for your leadership, and Mr. John Shockley, the legal counsel, for the work that you folks have done. Unprecedented and amazing. We're here today because of your efforts, and I am very grateful to you, John, and to you, Joel. Over the last 10 years, I've spent a lot of time at the North Dakota Legislature advocating for funding for this project. This year wasn't as tough. It was easier because of the leadership around this table. We have sold the project, and they were willing to help us out. That goes clear back to when Senator Hoeven was our governor, and certainly, Doug, your leadership. I hope everybody here understands today the role that Governor BURGUM had when he reached out to Governor Dayton and had the joint task force. We were in a place that was not very productive. Let me put it that way.
That's very nice, yes.
But Governor BURGUM's insight, reaching out to Governor Dayton, that leadership, or many of us around this table, served on that joint task force, of which I was honored to do that for you, represent you, Governor, in the state of North Dakota. So this morning, when I got up, the first thing I did is I called Senator Wardner. I called Senator Sorbach. I called Representative Chet Pollack, and I called, as I like to call him, Schmitty, Representative Jim Schmidt, and thanked them for the way that they have shepherded this through. As both Senator Hoeven has said and Governor BURGUM has said, this is unprecedented for North Dakota to have a bonding bill. And it's leadership that led up to this for years and years and years that we got to this point. So representing one of the communities here, we're very grateful. And Senator Klobuchar, you just about got it right when you said Moorhead. The next, you got to say,
West Fargo.
Senator Klobuchar, it's Moorhead, West Fargo.
Okay, I get it now, I get it. That
So,
makes them.
but,
Yes.
you know,
Mayor Dardis,
it's
I
been a
wholeheartedly agree.
busy couple of days, so we'll forgive you. I also want to thank the Fargo, Moorhead, and West Fargo Chamber of Commerce. When I was chairman of the board of the chamber, we initiated a leadership group within the business community. And I'd like to say today, Shannon Full, our CEO and chairman of the chamber, is here with us. That leadership also was unprecedented because they were the group of people, the business community, that went out to see governor after governor, legislator after legislator. So on behalf, again, of our joint communities, we thank the chamber for their efforts because, again, they were an integral part in the success of convincing the North Dakota legislature for the type of funding. It's an honor to serve with the men and women that are on this board. I hope that the public understands how dedicated and hardworking they are. I have great respect for all of you, and it has been a pleasure to serve on this board. Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor Dardis. Really appreciate it and appreciate all your incredible efforts. You know, we talk about Winnipeg. You brought up Winnipeg and their flood diversion and how that's been a model. This is going to be the model that people talk about going forward. I firmly believe it. So just as we've kind of referenced Winnipeg, this is the model I think people around the country will reference. The Fargo, West Fargo, Moorhead, Arthur, Metro. We're going to go over to Chad Peterson for two reasons. One, because he's the chairman of Cass County Board, but also because he's got the best beard in the joint by far, I think.
Senator Hoven, I knew I liked you for a lot of reasons.
That thing is massive.
I'm aiming for longer with some braids, but I'll keep you informed as time goes by, Senator.
Good deal.
The worst part about not going first is a goodly portion of your talking points are gone because you follow so many bright people. So thanks for that. First, let me start with Senator Hoven. Senator Hoven, thank you. I know you and I have talked over the years about what you've done for us, but I don't think anyone in this room or beyond this room really understands what you've done. Without you, we wouldn't be here. Former leader within the city of Fargo staff, Mark Bittner, had said, we'll get a diversion. It's whether we flood or not first. That's one of the first things he told me after I was elected. We would not be here without you, Senator. I hope you understand that. I hope you understand how grateful we are for that. And I hope everyone in this room also understands the heavy lift from a small state like North Dakota. What he did for us is incredibly impressive on a myriad of levels. So, sir, thank you. To my governor, Governor Burgum, we wouldn't be here without you either. You've reinvented the way we do infrastructure in the state of North Dakota. Yes, Chet Pollard, I've met with him, and Rich Wardner as well, and we've been advocating for different solutions for a period of years, but without the slings and arrows you took for us over the last couple sessions, we wouldn't be here. Maybe, but I don't think so. So again, Governor, I'm grateful for your support and again, the reinvention of what we've done. Thank you, sir. Senator KLOBUCHAR, we've never met. My name is Chad Peterson. I'm chairman of the Cass County Commission, and
I
I'm
will never forget you now.
Wonderful. And I am vice chair of the Diversion Authority. Thank you for your advocacy, as Senator Hoven said prior, and Mayor Mahoney mentioned. Thank you for your advocacy prior to my election, your advocacy now, and I'm really looking forward to working with you in the future. You touched on something that's incredibly important, why this is so important for Minnesota, and Governor Burgum touched on this as well. Roughly 2,000 people, a little over 2,000 people come here from Becker County, that's Detroit Lakes, to work. Just under that come from Otter Tail County, that's Fergus Falls.
I was just there yesterday, so
If you
we talked
compile
about this.
all the people that come to this area to work, you're going to find a number just under 30,000. These numbers are dated, so it's actually probably more than 30,000 right now. This is bigger than Fargo, it's bigger than Moorhead, even bigger than West Fargo, believe it or not. We are a regional hub. We always have been, we always will be. The synergy that's been built over the years through great leadership and great business owners, private, public, it's done. We're going to grow. Between 3,000 and 5,000 people are going to come to the Fargo, Moorhead, West Fargo, Dilworth area into perpetuity. Without this protection, their businesses will not be safe. Their jobs are at risk. The Assistant Director of FEMA, Mr. Smith, I believe was his name, came and addressed us some time ago, this is probably 6 years ago, and said that should we lose our region, 30% of the jobs will be gone into perpetuity. More initially, but into perpetuity, 30%. And that would affect our friends in Becker County and Otter Tail. You take 600 people out of Becker and 600 people out of Otter Tail, no one's commuting here to work $7 an hour jobs. These are plumbers, electricians, doctors, lawyers, business owners, high-paying jobs that will no longer exist in those communities. Everything from their restaurateuring to their home values will be impacted immediately. So, Senator KLOBUCHAR, glad to meet you. Glad you understand the bigger picture. And again, I'm grateful for your support in the past. And my senator and my governor and everyone in this room know if there's anything I can do for you to make your job easier, I always exit with this. Please call, text, email. I am available at your beck and call. I know my team is as well. So again, anything we can do, please let us know. And better yet, maybe even just be so bold. I'm a pretty blunt guy. So maybe just tell us what
So
you
am
need.
I, so
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah, so you need to be here Thursday at 3 o'clock. That'd be
Okay, good.
awesome. We'd be grateful for that. And again, thank you.
Thank you. And
just to
thank you
let-
for capturing that whole idea that we rise and fall together.
Yes, ma'am.
As just as the waters do, our areas do. And that is why I got so involved in this with John from the beginning. So,
Exactly right. And with that, I think there's a number of us that want to speak. So gratitude, Mr. Burgum, I'm going to take your line, I always have. Whether you know it or not, I use gratitude because of you. Gratitude to everyone here, gratitude to everyone that's helped us. And again, anything we can do, let us know, Senator. Thank you.
Thanks, Chad. Much appreciated, and thanks for your strong support all the way through. And of course, the county's been an incredible partner in this endeavor. So thanks to you and all the commissioners for that leadership. And so let's go to Dave Ebinger with the Clay County Commission. Our friends on the other side of the river.
who I got to work with in his former role as a police chief, so it's good to see you here.
Good seeing you, Senator. And thank you, Senator Hoven. Boy, talking points. This is a tough 6 acts to follow. I will keep it brief, but I want to express my gratitude as well. I'm the newest guy on the team here. This is my first term as a commissioner and my first rodeo with the Diversion Authority. But I'm very familiar with why we need it. I'll echo what's already been observed a couple times. I met Senator KLOBUCHAR when I first came here as police chief from down south. I know I've got a Minnesota accent, but I'm originally from Arkansas. And she came and responded here in '09 when we had the 500-year flood. Now, I grew up in a city with a large river, the Arkansas River, going through the middle of it, and I'd seen floods. And I laughed when they told me that the Red River flooded. I didn't laugh when it happened. In a 40-year career as a police officer, that was probably one of the most fearful times I've had in that career. And I learned a couple of things. First of all, we are one community. If Fargo floods, Moorhead's unemployed. If the waters don't get to us. Our hospitals are on this side of the river. Everybody has friends. A lot of people have family. A lot of North Dakota students go to college at MSUM and Concordia, and a lot of Minnesota kids come over here to NDSU. And Lord, we got Bison fans on both sides of the river. This is one community, and we work together, we support each other, and we look out for each other. It's been an honor 12 years working here to work with my counterparts on both sides of the river. I think that one of the things Minnesota's got to own is we presented some of the obstacles to completing this. But as been pointed out, and certainly with our governor's leadership, Governor Dayton and Governor BURGUM, that was worked through. And those litigations and the problems are behind us. And now it's time to get into the hard work of construction. And being the new guy, I'm ready to jump in and do my part with both boots, because I've seen, and as everybody's heard this morning, the leadership that's present here. We can do great things. We've done great things, and even greater things are in front of us. And Senator KLOBUCHAR, I just do want to mention, you were in this from the start, and I saw you. In '09, I got to drive you around a little bit, and Mike Redlinger, who works for Fargo now, got to drive you around a little bit. And you had our back then, and it was good to have that kind of leadership come in and support us. And it's great to see you here, still having our back when we're getting into the good part of this, where we're going to bring permanent flood protection to this region, and we're going to thrive. So thank you.
Oh.
Thank you, Dave. All right, let's turn to the Colonel. And Colonel, you may want to talk about, of course, you can't let the cat out of the bag yet as far as the announcement, but why don't you talk about the project a little bit and just steps forward. And again, we appreciate you, not just for this work, but for your service to our country.
Thanks very much, Senator. It's an honor to be here and share a project update with everybody for the federal portion of the project. I serve as a St. Paul District Commander of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and we serve the people and watersheds of 5 upper Midwest states. But in many ways, we are staffed, organized, and we function in a way that ensures the success of this particular project. And I really appreciate your comments, Mayor. I really represent the members of our project delivery team. They're so talented, and not only do they bring their expertise and their professionalism to this, but it's really their heart and their soul too. They are in this for the people of this region. And so we're proud to be part of comprehensive flood risk reduction to the region. We know what's at stake, and we know what stands to gain for the nation in delivering this project. And I'd just like to amplify a couple of the thanks as well to the local, state, and federal elected officials for your vision and your leadership, and for our congressional delegation, in particular, your advocacy at the levels that you spoke about, Senator Hoeven, and what that takes behind the scenes while you have so many other national priorities that you're involved with. And so your presence here is a big, big deal. And I thank you, and especially for the appropriations that you spoke about earlier. The Corps can never do anything successfully by ourselves. We'd be foolish to try to do that. And in this particular project, it's a team of teams. And I think about all the variety of teams that are involved, and I think it starts with the community, the taxpayers, the rural community, the agricultural community. It's not lost on us what the personal sacrifice involved is to deliver this project. It's not without impacts to the environment, to people's traditional way of life, and we've made it a far, far way. Also, our Corps of Engineers vertical team are always lending a hand, both Major General Diana Holland, our Mississippi Valley Division Commander, and then, as you mentioned, the Chief of Engineers, Lieutenant General Scott Spellman. Our state agencies are absolutely invaluable in delivering these types of projects, in particular, the North Dakota Department of Transportation, the North Dakota State Engineer, the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources. Our staff level relationships are so positive that we're able to creatively work through problems and move forward. And then certainly our partner, our local partners, we are really truly in this together. I am proud that we have such a trusting relationship and that we share the risk together. And it is a good model for the rest of the country on what works well as a delivery model. So a couple updates, both on the administrative side and the project side. Administratively, you talked about $115 million in appropriations this year, along with $100 million last year, absolute game changer to keep us on track with taking on our work. We spoke about the upstream coalition settlement. That paved the way for Minnesota DNR to reissue a very critical permit, and that paved the way for the dismissal of all the federal litigation within the last couple of weeks. Big, big deal. So project update-wise, so General Spellman has given the commanders of 43 Corps of Engineer districts very specific instructions. Our mission is to finish quality projects on time and to budget. And so that's what we intend to do right here. The federal portion of this project in macro terms includes about a 20-mile embankment. The purpose of that embankment is to stage floodwaters upstream so that they can be released in a controlled way. Part of that embankment includes 3 control structures: the diversion inlet structure, the Wild Rice River structure, and the Red River control structure. And then the project also involves raising just over a 4-mile portion of Interstate 29 out of the 500-year floodplain. So that's about 4 or 5 feet along that reach, in addition to some key environmental mitigation projects. So at the diversion inlet structure and the Wild Rice River structure, construction's in full swing. Both of those are about 50% complete, and we are on budget and on schedule on both of those, and a lot of activity going on at those sites even today. Our design efforts underway for the 6 sub-portions of the southern embankment, and as a matter of fact, we awarded a contract last week for Southern Embankment Reach Number 1 for about $2.2 million to Tunheim Construction, which is a local company as well. The neat thing to know about that is 2 years ago, we anticipated the cost of that would be $36 million. And through a lot of ingenuity and creative problem solving, that came down all the way to $2.2 million. Environmental mitigation is essential to further this project, and we don't do this as an afterthought. This is a top priority. as a federal project, and we've got 2 of those big projects in design, Drain 27 wetland and the Drayton Dam modification, and we expect contract awards for those projects next year. And then the Red River Control Structure, this really is the keystone, largest structure of all. It will be the largest contract award of the entire federal portion of the project. It's technically complicated. We have, when you talk team of teams, we've brought in experts from 13 different Corps of Engineer districts, our big laboratory in Vicksburg, Mississippi, to make sure we get the design just right. And what's also important about that is it sits on the Red River, which is the state border, and so the dialogue and collaboration that goes along with both states to make sure everything is just in order is going very well. So we look forward to finishing that design this year, initiating contract actions in the fall, and then working towards a contract award about this time next year. And I'll probably hold there with the remainder of the update, sir.
Thanks, Colonel. Appreciate your work, and go ahead.
No, I think, good job.
Yeah. No, exciting, and appreciate how hard you're working to keep things on track. And thanks for your creativity. It was no small feat. I mean, we appreciate R.D. James, former Assistant Secretary of Army, Spellman, and General Spellman, he's a champion. And again, when you talk to him, tell him how much we appreciate him. But going to bat with OMB to get approval to do these things contemporaneously, both in terms of the excavation for the Red River structure and using that fill. We know that that was important to you, and it took a little work to get it, but it wouldn't happen without your advocacy, and certainly General Spellman, so we appreciate it very much. Thank you. Well, Joel, point guy, tip of the spear. Bring us up to date on all things diversion.
Well, thank you, Senator Hoven, and I won't take up much time because I know we have some time constraints and we want to get to a press conference and release some very, very encouraging news. Senator KLOBUCHAR, thank you for being here. Really appreciate seeing you, and Governor BURGUM, as always. You know, I don't need to say any more. I think everyone's kind of encompassed the history and what got us to this point. But I do want to make some quick observations for the board and for our distinguished guest here today. As the executive director, things that I have seen that have absolutely impressed me about this program, the people involved, and where we're going. A P3 project of this magnitude, this is a mega project. When we look across the nation and around the world, there aren't any P3 water projects. And the reason being is that they're complex, water is always changing, complex regulatory environment, complex impacts, and the magnitude of the cost. We are doing something here in North Dakota and Minnesota in our local community that is not being done anywhere else in the world. And we've gotten to the point where we've received technical bids from proposers for the P3 portion of this project, and we're awaiting financial bids, which will be coming in within the next few weeks. That's unprecedented, considering that around the country, traditional P3 projects like toll roads and airport terminals, they don't move forward. And why don't they move forward is because they don't get the political support and they can't get the capital to continue to move those things forward. We've never taken no for an answer. We've always tried to find ways, because we have to. We have no other choice. We can't allow the risk of flooding to impede our growth and our prosperity within this community. And I think that's been well encompassed by the speakers here today. So as we move forward, we're getting national attention here. We have projects in Boston, we have projects in Texas, we have projects in California that are reaching out to me asking, how is Fargo-Moorhead doing this? We don't understand. We can't get our projects off the ground. And these are metropolises, you know, big, huge communities. And here we figured out how to do it in Fargo-Moorhead, and it's impressive. And I think everyone should pat themselves on the back for all the hard work and all the folks that aren't with us at this point that have come before us to get us to where we are. And Mayor DARDIS, thank you for those kind words earlier. I just want to let you know. The folks behind you here are the ones that really put in the effort. We have a team of over 200 people working on this project on any given day. And it's the hard work and dedication of the city, county staff, as well as our wonderful and talented consultants that have been able to get us to this point. So with that, I don't want to belabor anymore. Thank you, folks, for being here. It's just an exciting day for us with the bonding bill passing and the next announcement we have here from the federal side of things. Just a very celebratory day for us all. Thanks. Good work to everybody here. Thanks.
Thanks, Joel. When do you anticipate that the award would be made for the private sector portion of this?
So we'll be receiving that on April 23rd. We'll be receiving the bids. There'll be a review process that will take approximately 2 weeks, and we should be in a position to make a recommendation to the board at that point and release that information publicly.
And roughly, what's the size of that award, give or take?
Anywhere between $1 billion to $1.2 billion in one single contract.
And you have some pretty exciting partnerships that are putting in bids on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Large conglomerations of engineers, architects, financiers, contractors.
Once again, really demonstrating the national scope of this project.
Absolutely. And the thing I really like about this P3 approach, which the Corps has embraced 100%, and the innovation that that brings, is it allows the federal government to eat away at the backlog of flood control projects much quicker, because we're talking about a 70% local share instead of a 60 or 70% state or federal share. So you're flipping that funding on its head, and it's just going to allow the federal government to get these important projects across the nation. Projects that are reaching out to us asking, how are you doing this? You know, they're just flabbergasted by the innovation in the financing plan and the innovation of putting all the technical components together to get us where we are.
And add the WIFIA piece. So this is really the first one of a water project like this, a construction project, where we've also added the WIFIA piece. So that's very first time or innovative or creative, whatever you want to call it.
Absolutely, Senator. Without the WIFIA alone, you know, we wouldn't have that financial certainty, and we wouldn't it wouldn't be financially feasible at this moment. So the WIFIA alone is a critical component of our financial plan, and we received one of the largest ones in the history of this nation for this project.
Well, and it's good we got it, because I can remember Pepcorn threatening about how we needed to bring the cost down for the local share. And with a guy that big, you have to, he might have been kidding, but with a guy that big, you don't want to take a chance. So it's darn good we got the WIFIA in there. Thanks, Joel. Any other comments before we wrap up from our commissioners and city council members that are here? Mary, you've been a leader of the Diversion Authority here and done a fantastic job. But any thoughts or questions, comments you want to make before we wrap here?
Oh, thank you, Senator. No, I think it's all been said very eloquently by everyone. Just again, thanks to the rest of the board and to our new board vice chair and our new chair of the board. Mayor CARLSON was relatively new to this organization. She took over Joel's spot on the board in 2019 when I was chair, and suddenly she's risen to the top of the heap, and she's leading us and doing an excellent job. And so we're just so excited to have turned the corner on so many things at this point, and we're looking forward to cutting the big ribbon. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary, and for your incredible collaboration. You did a great job of bringing people together at some critical points as the governor's task force and everything else. You really were the glue on a lot of these things, so thank you. Anyone else before we wrap? Roger.
Thank you. Senators, Governor, Chairwoman, thank you for hearing me. There's one group that needs to have a thank you, and that group, excuse me, That group is the homeowners, the landowners, the farmers, that group that we've asked to sacrifice to put this project on the land. And it's important to understand that they did make a sacrifice. They have been paid for that sacrifice, but still, we appreciate that. And we would be remiss not to thank them. Thank you.
Thanks, Roger. And the emotion and the passion with which you said that says volumes. And so we do want to say thank you. And it's very important that we continue to have that mindset that this is about the whole region. And thank you for bringing that up so well and so eloquently.
Very good.
Anyone else? All right, well then we'll wrap up. Gov, any final thoughts here before we do a little media avail?
No, I'm excited to hear the announcement at the briefing.
Good, and then you can talk a little bit more about that bonding bill too. We're excited about that. Senator Klobuchar, any
All good.
final thoughts?
No,
Good to go?
this is
Okay, then
good.
we're gonna turn it back to Mayor Carlson for just a final wrap. Thank you, and again, thanks for agreeing to convene this meeting. Appreciate it so much.
Absolutely, thank you so much. And thank you, Roger, for those words. It would be remiss to miss thanking those homeowners and landowners. But I keep hearing about this incredible announcement that you're going to be making, Senator Hoven. But thank you, Senator Hoven, Senator Klobuchar, Governor Burgum, and Colonel Jansen for being here. And particularly thank you, Senator Hoven, for mentioning my dad's name, because now I think I can wear the favorite child hat again, and I might get an extra Christmas present. So I appreciate that tremendously. So if we maybe could all move out into the atrium, and we can begin our
All
press
right.
conference.
Very good.
As you know, we just had a meeting with the Diversion Authority and talked about the really incredible progress that's being made on what is an absolute model for the country in terms of doing major construction project where you've got a federal, a state, and local component all working together in what's called a P3. So it's public-private. It's $3 billion. It has so many innovations that this is going to be truly the model, the prototype for the country going forward. And it is exciting the way everybody has stepped up, the local communities and the counties, the whole region, working together, not only in terms of figuring out how to handle everything in terms of making sure we're being fair to everybody upstream and downstream and in the communities, but also stepping up with the funding, as I say, on a project that's almost $3 billion. So today, what we're talking about is some real progress that we're making going forward, both in terms of the federal funding and the state funding to go along with what all the citizens in this community have done. And before I make an announcement on the bid award today, I do want to mention that WIFIA component that we talk about, the loan guarantee portion, is really important as well for the locals, because the way that the communities and the counties, the region has stepped up with that funding, that WIFIA loan guarantee from the federal government will help bring your costs down. And that's something very important for property tax payers to understand, that that really helps with that local share, and certainly Governor BURGUM and Senator KLOBUCHAR and myself worked very hard to get that. It is the first time this kind of project has ever gotten that loan guarantee program. And so that's very important. I want to thank Senator KLOBUCHAR for coming over today, and also, of course, Governor BURGUM and Mayor CARLSON for her leadership with the Diversion Authority. And as I said in the meeting just a minute ago, Amy KLOBUCHAR is a little bit like Barbara Mandrell. Barbara Mandrell used to say, well, she was country when country wasn't cool. Well, Senator KLOBUCHAR was helping with this project from the jump, from the beginning, when there were a lot of things that were still up in the air. And she always took the attitude that is, we've got to make this work for everybody. And of course, the governor has been instrumental in making that happen too. But it was because of that attitude, well, yes, we have to do this. Yes, of course I'll help. And how do we make sure that everybody is fairly treated and well? So I can't thank her enough for being on board from the very beginning. Today, we're very pleased to announce a $67 million award to industrial builders of West Fargo. Yeah. And I think Paul Dietrich is here. Paul, where are you? There he is. He's camera shy, but come over, wave. But Industrial Builders, of course, has been building in this region and throughout both states for many years and does incredible work. But this $67 million bid award will raise I-29 for about a 4-mile stretch, which is vital as part of the flood control project. And really the key innovation with this award is that it's really a 2-for-1 deal, in that it not only enables the raising of the interstate I-29, but it also enables excavation work on the Red River Valley control structure for the project, the Red River Valley structure. Why is that important? Because the excavating of the dirt from one spot, which is part of the control structure, will then become the fill for the roadways. So it's 2-for-1 in terms of savings and efficiency. We actually got the funding, this is federal funding, we actually got it last year, the $67 million, but we couldn't go forward with the project because the Corps of Engineers, as Colonel Jansen will explain to you if you want, said, no, we have to kind of do this at the same time because we're going to save a lot of money, and we're going to save time because we're going to take the dirt out of one spot, the Red River control structure, and we're going to put it over here at the highway, so we save money and we save time. So we had to secure another $115 million and work with OMB and the Corps, so they would say, yes, you can go ahead and do that and actually start with what's going to be the control structure, excavation, and do the roadways. Get the roadways going right now. We'll secure additional money. We've already gotten $115 million for the control structure, and we'll get about another $75 million this year. so that that will then complete the funding they need to do the control structure as well. So again, an example of how the Corps is saying, hey, we can do this more cost effectively and stay on this 6-year timeline that Mayor Mahoney set for us to get the whole thing done, which is amazing on a project of this magnitude. And of course, that all saves money as well. Joel Paulsen, the diversion director, told us today about how when are we looking at getting the bid out or the bid back for the private sector portion?
About 4 weeks from now, Senator.
I was going to say that, but it seems so quick. But that you're going to see, again, showing the national scope of this project, because when you see the type of bidders and the partnerships that come in and bid on that billion-plus contract, you will truly see the national scope and innovation of this project. So it's exciting for this region, and it once again shows that when it comes to the Fargo, West Fargo, Moorhead, and as Governor BURGUM likes to say, Arthur expanded metro region, you know, this truly is leading the way forward for this country and how we're going to do these types of public infrastructure projects. So again, thanks to all. And with that, I want to thank Senator KLOBUCHAR for coming over. She's come over for floods, so she's seen the need for it. She's been here, and we've gone around and helped sandbag. But thanks for all your work, and thanks for being there right from the start.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Senator Hoven. I love to wear my Moorhead zip code here. Thank you, Mayor, for your good work, and also Mayor Mahoney. And I'm also proud that our mayor here is heading up this group. Governor, thank you for your leadership and your collaboration with actually both our governors. I think we all know Governor Dayton had some qualms about this. That's a nice Minnesota way of saying it. Early on, and I'm actually going to see him this weekend. He recently got married, and I'm going to bring him the chippers. I will do that. Then we moved
That's
and
the food of our people.
right, but you were the food of your people. That's what I'll tell him. And you were able to put together that group and work out a lot of the issues. We then turned to Governor Walz, who both you and I have spoken to recently. I talked to him yesterday. He is very, very supportive of this project, which we know and the mayor of Moorhead knows is going to be critical. Our side of this, we were so pleased we were able to work out the very important concerns of some of our rural communities and got a settlement which paved the way, as our friends from the Army Corps have explained today, paved the way to really moving forward this. And the way I looked at this from the beginning, when Senator Hoven, way back when he was governor, and I was a brand new senator, and I came out here and saw the devastation of the floods, is just as the waters fall and rise, our two communities fall and rise together. You can't simply say, well, Fargo and West Fargo, we're over here in Minnesota, so we'll see what happens to them, when you have tens of thousands of people going back and forth, living and working in these communities. We are one region, and that is why I've been so supportive of this project. We're excited about the announcement today, about the work that the governor has done with the legislature in North Dakota, about the work we've done federally and the work we are to do going forward with the Army Corps budget for the 22 budget year, and that the work we'll do with this new administration. So we're excited that we see momentum, that in the drought in much of your state, I have brought rain, thank you. But we also know that these extreme weather events that we're seeing, flooding and then droughts and flooding and droughts, are predicted to continue. And that's why this makes this project so important, and we can't wait, and we thank everyone for their urgency. Thank you.
Thanks, Senator KLOBUCHAR. Again, appreciate it so much.
I did not bring up the hockey game.
And it's good you did not. No, it's good you not. Next year. Again, thanks, Amy. Appreciate it so much. Now, this next guy knows that timing is everything, and his timing is really good. The federal share of the project, so we have authorized $750 million for the project. We've secured already more than 300. As we talked about, we'll get more again this year, plus we've secured the WIFIA loan, which I talked about. All those important part of the federal share and the federal contribution. So Governor BURGUM, never to be outdone, to his credit, is here with not only in support of all we're doing in terms of the federal share, but has done great work on behalf of the state of North Dakota and has some really good things to talk about today as well. So, Gov, thanks so much for being here and for your great leadership.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Senator Hoeven. Thank you, Senator Klobuchar, and all the leaders that are here. There's so many people in this room today that deserve our gratitude, who've been fighting for this project for decades. And to add to the exciting news today, I certainly want to say congratulations, first of all, to industrial builders and the Dietrich family. It's so fantastic to have one of the first major awards go to a North Dakota company, and one that's got such a long history of doing great projects on interstate. So that's incredible news. And of course, we know 97 interstate was closed. We were rerouting when Grand Forks flooded. We know during the floods in 9, 10, and 11, we had interstate closures. So there's benefits to this. That's a major transportation corridor from Canada to Texas. It's also a great road that we all travel on when we're going down to Frisco for Bison Championships, Senator Klobuchar. So we want to make sure we keep that road open.
I was up till 1 a.m. watching.
We all were, so that's okay. But we want to say, but in terms of other exciting news that's from here, I want to also say thank you to our legislature. We know that, as Senator Hoeven said, this has been a model for a partnership between state and local and federal, and it's being viewed that way around the nation. But the state of North Dakota has been incredible in their support of this project, and I want to thank our House Majority Leader Chet Pollard, Senate Majority Leader Rich Wardner, Representative Jim Schmidt, who leads the effort on water on the House side, and locally here, Senator Ron Sorbog, who's been a deep champion, and all the members of the Water Topics Committee. We've got something incredible that happened yesterday. North Dakota doesn't pass bonding bills. The legislature astutely understood that during this period of super low interest rates, that we'd actually save taxpayers money by borrowing at these low interest rates. We also save money by assuring the flow of cash to the diversion, because that helps them get a lower bid on the P3 partnership. It de-risks the project, and when you lower risk, you can lower the price of the project. It also has the opportunity of speeding up the project, which can help us avoid the catastrophic risk that we're concerned about. As Senator Klobuchar talked about the importance of this and the importance to both sides of the river, I think there's a special thing to point out. I mean, during this pandemic, there's over 20 counties in Minnesota that receive their primary care and primary hospital care either on the hospitals that are on the Grand Forks or the Fargo side of the river. And so we are all in this together from a regional standpoint. And as Chairman Chad Peterson from Cass County has pointed out a number of times, we have tens of thousands of people that from outside the protected area that come and commute and work inside the protected area every day. So this is truly an important regional project. The protected area represents over 20% of the sales tax for the state of North Dakota and over 30% of the hospital beds in the state of North Dakota in the protected area. We've got 3 major universities that are in the protected area, and plus smaller institutions of higher education. That's over 35,000 college students that are here, and that's a major part of the economy. So whether it's technology, advanced manufacturing, healthcare, or education, protecting this economic engine for the region really matters. And again, that's why the legislature astutely on this bonding bill record $680 million for the state of North Dakota. House bill passed the Senate yesterday, 1431. But it also, within that 680, includes $435.5 million for the Fargo, Moorhead, West Fargo, Horace, Harwood diversion. And so again, incredible work by the legislature. That bill hasn't reached my desk yet. I generally don't comment on bills until they get to my desk, but I'm making that exception here. When the bill reaches my desk, I'll be signing it immediately. So congratulations to everybody that worked on it.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks, Scott. Let's turn to Shelley Carlson. She is the leader of the diversion, and we appreciate that leadership. And again, it just reflects the incredible cooperation from this whole area. So, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes, my name is Shelley Carlson. I'm the mayor of Moorhead, Minnesota, also the chair of the FM Diversion project, which is bringing together all these incredible people to bring permanent, reliable flood protection to the Fargo-Moorhead region and metro area. I cannot even begin to express on behalf of the board of the directors of the Board Authority and our executive director, Joel Paulsen, our gratitude and our thanks to Senator Klobuchar, Senator Hoeven, Governor Burgum, Governor Walz, and all of the other individuals who have been working so hard to bring together the funding to make this actually happen. Also wanted to thank Colonel Jansen with the Army Corps of Engineers, and as Commissioner Roger Olson so eloquently said earlier, to also thank the landowners who are making this sacrifice so that all of this region can be protected with permanent, reliable flood protection. I just also wanted to illuminate the fact of the innovation that has gone into this project, which was discussed earlier, cost savings that we're looking at really trying to be leaders in how to do this in the nation, and also the incredible collaboration that is not just between the cities, but it's between our counties and it's between our two states and our federal government. So thank you all for so very much.
And you got Hoeven to wear this zip code.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
That's true. Thanks, Mayor Carlson. Joe Paulsen, tip of the spear with the Diversion Authority, Joe. And if you want to throw in any comments about this upcoming bid too, I'm sure people are anxious to hear about that as well. And then maybe, Paul, just any thoughts from industrial builders, or if somebody has a question. All right.
Well, thank you, Senator Hoeven. Joel Paulsen, Executive Director for the Metro Flood Diversion Authority. Just want to reiterate what the governors and senators have already told us here. I believe everything happens for a reason. We're in one of the lowest interest rate environments right now. It is the best time to be closing on our WIFIA loan. It's the best time to be constructing a shovel-ready project. And in fact, this isn't a shovel-ready project. We've had shovels in the ground for multiple years. It's a great leadership of the Corps of Engineers and Colonel Jansen, already constructing two critical components of the diversion project, the wild rice control structure and the inlet control structure. This year, with this announcement today, we'll start the grade raise project, which also contains a component of the dam, and we'll also be awarding the SE1, which is the first section of the dam itself, from the inlet control structure going to the southwest. We are in the process right now of receiving bids with the P3 development team. That is going to be a single contract, anywhere between around $1 billion. Will be the local component of the project, which we intend to deliver within 6 years. That does mirror the completion date for the Corps of Engineers on the dam and the control structure. So hopefully in 2028, we can all be here cutting ribbons and not having to worry about throwing a single sandbag ever again. So with that, I think we can probably turn it back to Senator Hoeven and maybe wrap up.
Yeah.
Paul, maybe you want to.
Paul, any thoughts that you had from industrial builders?
Let me say this. I am not an elected leader, but I appreciate everything the elected leaders have done. This has gone on, like I said, a little longer than I expected. When we bid the job, initially plywood was around $40 a sheet, and I think it's gone up to 65. It might have gone to 66 during this press conference. My employees, the men and women who will be building this, look forward to doing so and doing so safely over the course of the project. We look for the cooperation of the landowners, the citizens, and we appreciate the opportunity to be a local leader in construction. And again, the sandbags will become a thing of the past, and we look forward to that.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Paul. Okay, we'll just take a few questions if there are any. Mayor Tim Mahoney is right there. Nobody's done more than Mayor Tim. Mayor Bernie Dardis, thank you for your incredible leadership as well. Former Mayor Bruce Furness, just shows how long people have been working on this and the great leadership that we've had all the way through. To Chad Peterson, Dave Ebinger, the leaders of the county commissions. Roger Olson said it very well. For everyone in the upstream and the downstream areas, everyone who is affected by this, for coming together, for working together. We appreciate you, and we thank you. So with that, are there any questions for anybody up here before we wrap up?
You mentioned how cities are asking me how you got this funding. So how did you get the funding?
Wow, that's a long answer, but that, I guess that's what we're trying to show here is that this is a model project because it's innovative in so many ways, but fundamentally, it's because it's the best example in the country right now of people working together. The people at the local level. So the communities of Fargo, West Fargo, Moorhead, and all of the surrounding communities, Cass County, Clay County, figuring out how they're going to step up and fund their share. The state of North Dakota, the governor, the legislators. Thank you, legislators, for stepping up the way that you have and funding the state share. And then at the federal level, cooperation between our respective states and not only getting the federal funding, but bringing this innovative approach. This is the first P3 of consequence being done in the nation. It is the first time there's been a WIFIA loan on it, and that's why this is the model, because we're doing something nobody else has ever done in all of these partnerships. But the key is so many people working together, and that's what you saw with this discussion today. That's the real key. Anything else? Other?
Companies not so secure, moving the corporate headquarters here, like, take us out 8-10 years. What does this mean for this community economy?
Chad Peterson said that beautifully today, where he talked about how, Chad, what was it? Somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000 people a year coming in here. And he said, people and businesses are going to continue to come here into perpetuity because we're creating an environment where they can come and thrive. Go ahead, I'll turn it.
Go ahead, Chris. That's fine. Okay. Well, I think one of the reasons that we've been able to get this funding and to move ahead is we have a case to make. We have a case for the calamity that will occur and almost occurred. We were so close to losing these two towns if we were to see another flood. And so we have the facts on our side. Secondly, as Senator Hoven pointed out, this is a cross-state effort. A lot of times when you have hard projects like this, you have to work out a lot of things with communities. You've got governors on both sides. You've got partisan differences, right? We're in different political parties. I don't know if you guys noticed. I ran for president on the other side. And yet we have to put those aside to try to work for a common good. And I think because we're able to make the case to the Army Corps that we have that kind of agreement, it makes a difference. And then just the last thing I'll say from the Minnesota side, I thought the governor's words were really moving when you think about during the pandemic that you've had tens of thousands of people come here to get their health care, and then you have others who have loved ones in Minnesota, and it's really made people realize we can't mess around with the petty politics, that lives are on the line, and that's the same for this project.
Chris, on your question about what it can mean for investment, capital decisions are generally based on some combination of assessment of risk and judgment, and whether that's a homeowner trying to decide, should I finish my basement, or whether it's one of the world's largest corporations saying, should I invest hundreds of millions of dollars building new facilities in a community. And we really de-risk this community by taking away the one catastrophic thing that could completely disrupt operations or cause a loss. For the homeowners, there's been estimates that there could be tens of millions of dollars annually saved in homeowners no longer having to buy flood insurance. And if people today say, well, I don't have flood insurance now, it doesn't matter to me, we know that the FEMA flood maps are going up, and they keep going up. And as more and more homes get into the 100-year floodplain, that number just goes higher and higher. And being able to have tens of millions of dollars back in people's pockets, it's like eliminating a tax for them to no longer have flood insurance. Those are the kind of things where then people say, hey, I'm going to Menards, I'm going to Fleet Farm, I'm going to remodel my basement. And it's the kind of thing that people say, hey, this is a community that's safe to invest in. And I think the best example we have, because they have the same topography, it's the same river, which is Winnipeg. If you look at Winnipeg's growth curve that took them to a metro area that's more people than the whole state of North Dakota, that growth did not start to happen until after they got their diversion put in the 1960s. And before that, they were in the same, flood risk cycle that scared away investment, scared away people, scared away businesses. So I think that, I think there's a real era of prosperity coming for this area and this region, this metro area, because this, again, in North Dakota, this will be the largest protected area of any flood project ever accomplished in the state. Over 70 square miles today, over 230,000 people.
Any particular companies you're speaking to right now to try to recruit them here?
We are always talking to companies about trying to get to North Dakota.
As are we.
Yeah,
As are we, right?
and we're always talking to them. And as any of the mayors know, anybody involved in economic development, if you're having a serious discussion about somebody making a company move to here, you can't have, the flooding comes up. Flooding comes up and the experience comes up, and even the ones that are already here sometimes have maybe withheld expansion. And I think when I take a look at the success of, say, a company like Diversion, which is leading the way on the whole vaccine thing and their potential to really build out a whole biosciences industry based in Fargo, that again, de-risking it with the diversion helps all of that capital investment.
I have to go because I'm going to turn into a pumpkin if I don't go back to my state. And I have some other commitments there. But if
Thanks
there's
again
anything else-
for
Okay.
being here. And we'll wrap up. If you have questions, just grab whomever. Thanks for coming out. Appreciate it.